So, Marianne, there is a question from the audience. The person who's asking the question felt like you were really in the middle of this generational process, and she felt like the way you question the elderly generation is different from the way you speak to the newer generation. The way, like, she felt that you were questioning the elderly generation and your daughter was questioning you. The tone was a bit different. Can you speak a bit about you being in the middle of this whole intergenerational?
Absolutely. I'm really sandwiched between these two generations where I don't dare. I didn't really dare. So I was behind the camera, asking questions with a very little voice, being shy. And, it came slowly in the process that I was asking questions and daring to say, I am doing a film, This came much later. But with my daughter, it was completely different. And this is why I said the conversation with her triggered the film, because she was so clear and she was so, asking the questions to the point that, of course, the relationship is different. My relationship with my mother is different than my relationship with my daughter. With my daughter, it's more of an eye-to-eye, relationship where we talk about everything. With my mother, she used to understand everything, but we never spoke about anything. She was very liberal, but we never spoke things out. We never said, this is it, and we would never explain things. But with my daughter, it's different. Everything is talked about. Everything is clear. Yes, I accept. I agree with this argument. Nabil?
Other questions to Marianne?
Sorry?
I'm asking the audience if they have further questions to you. When is your next film, Marianne?
Well, there is always something cooking. I've been, as you know, Rabia, I've been involved with the Dashuriya, which is a residency for the last 10 years. And we have a group of women, and we've had together something like 20 workshops dealing with the, themes that have to do with women. And I think there is something cooking there. I don't know yet the form of the film, but there are many women involved that would like to share this experience with me. And we're still working on how we will go about it and how the film will look like. But it looks like a docudrama thing.
There is a gentleman here who just made a very nice commentary on your film. And he said that he really appreciated the way you have put together your conversation with Youssef Chahine, basically. There are many things that he saw in his films, and we always knew that the films were actually autobiographic, but we never knew what was fictionalized and what was not. And it was nice through your conversation with him to see that this was really true and this was really portrayed as such in his films. So he assumes also the fact that you have a very close relationship to him. He was able to speak to you that freely and that openly. This was first part.
Okay, shall we take it one at a time?
I don't know if you want to answer that first, your relationship.
Yes, because this is quite a big question, actually. The filming with Youssef Chahine was not easy at all. I mean, I've done this over years, and he was at a stage of his life where he did not want to speak, actually. He thought that he said everything in his films. So I came at the very end. He was tired. He didn't want to open up with me. So at the end, I kept a camera in my office, and he used to come and sit with me every day, and we would chat about everything. So I have hours of filming with him, where I could take those extracts, that were very important to my film, because he used to speak about everything. But he spoke as you said, in a very intimate way, because I was asking him intimate questions about his sister, who is my mother, about his mother, who is my grandmother. So I was able to come up with something, but it wasn't at all easy. You know, every day I used to film with him. After the filming, I used to cry and be very depressed because I didn't get what I wanted very quickly, you know. So this took years actually of filming, years of filming. Yes, and at the end he did open up with me, but I'm telling you, this was over a very long period of time because our relationship was very complex actually. He was my uncle, my father, my mentor, my friend. I used to have arguments with him. I used to fight, be upset from him. So it was a very, very complex relationship.
The second part of this gentleman's question actually was your relationship with your daughter.
Yeah.
Picking up on the question that was asked before, and he believed that sometimes, your daughter addressed things maybe slightly in a brutal way. She was answering everything, and she was asking you questions in a persistent way. Can you comment on that?
Yes, I can. She is. She's very. How do you say in French, frontal, which is. She doesn't. Sorry.
Confrontational.
Confrontational, yes. She is a filmmaker as well, and she has a very, very visceral relationship to cinema as well. She goes very deep and she analyzes and she dares much more than I do actually. I'm a different generation where I used to be a lot more inhibited. I took a very long time to express myself, not to be afraid, to say I'm not shy, I can do it. You know, it took me a very long time. She started at least a lifetime earlier than me. So it's a completely different generation. She has a different character, a different bringing up, and it's different.
Further questions? There was someone, I think. There is a gentleman who thanks you for the film. He found it very moving. And he actually wants to know about the reaction of the public in Egypt, actually.
That was amazing.
Yes, so he wanted to, his question actually is about the reaction, but also was it the reaction that you were expecting?
No, it was, for me, the whole process after the film was an experience. And every time there was a screening in Egypt, I used to go and meet the public and discuss the film, which was amazing actually, because people I didn't know at all were touched by the film, and the film had somehow of a mirror effect on them, where they don't know me, they don't know the family, and they start crying, and people hug me at the end of the screening and tell me, my relationship with my mother, I started therapy today. So this even in one of the screenings where it was a screening at Zawiya and we had a big audience, and then someone came from the end of the theater, and we were afraid because he didn't really look like the audience, and we thought that he was someone who was going to have something bad to say about the film or something. And then he said, I was passing by and I came from the countryside and I saw a lot of people in front of the door, and I came in, and then I thought it was very interesting to see a mother and a daughter talking to each other, which is something that does not happen these days, because children, they live in the home and they don't talk to their parents. So he liked this idea that, the parents and children still talk together. So this is one thing. And the effect that the film had, I think, on people is quite strong. And this is something I did not expect at all. And the people who went to the cinema, they I don't know, they had they could relate to the film, even though they did not know the family person. At the screening of the Cairo Film Festival, people thought that they were going to hear some, stories about the family of the famous filmmaker, but then they found out that it's something completely different. And I heard a lot of the comments that people felt that they were sitting with us in our Christmas, and they were just they felt very familiar with the family, which is something I did like.
And interestingly enough, the film had its premiere in Egypt at the Cairo Film Festival. And if I'm not mistaken, Marianne, it won the Audience Award.
Yeah, it did. It did win the Audience Award.
Do we have a final question for Marianne? We have a question from a gentleman who thanks you for the film, which he found very moving. And he has a very specific question on the role of water in your film.
Yeah.
You mentioned that your mother really uses the bathtub and also she swims in the ocean. And he wanted to understand if this was a conscious decision to use water, but also does water play a role in Youssef Chahine's films as well?
Yes, thank you for this question. Yes, of course, it has been used very consciously because we are a family coming from Alexandria, so it has water all over. The sea is between us and other people, there's always water in the summers. During the summers, there's always water that can show either, happiness or anger or serenity and waves. And I mean, water was actually when the sound editor came, I had a French sound editor because I wanted to have a good sound. Actually, I wanted my film to look like a film, not just archives, family archives. And this was the main theme we worked on, the water actually between scenes and throughout the film. It was very, very important. Thank you for taking that this water took your attention. It did. It was a very important theme in the film.
Anything else? Any final word? No, I would like to, first of all, thank you so much for coming physically to the cinema and enjoying Marianne's film. I want to thank you also, Marianne, even though we had some technical difficulties, for staying with us. And I know it's late in Cairo, so thank you for being with us. We also want to encourage you to do more films, but one thing that I really want to encourage you to continue doing, which I found very fantastic and wonderful, is your true support to this whole Egyptian generation of filmmakers, of producers, of film talents that are emerging in Egypt, but also in the whole Arab world. So thank you for your continuous support to this generation of people, some of which are making it to international festivals and some of which we are screening as part of these events. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabia. Thank you very much. You are a champion, actually.
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne, and hopefully we have the chance to see you physically sometime soon.
I hope so too. I hope so too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.